your standard 3-on-2s and 2-on-2s where the attack's coming out of the zone, a traditional rush. But an area that we talk a lot, and I certainly talk to our defense a lot about, is the ability to read through the rush. And when I'm talking about that, it's seeing the next layer of the attack coming at you. And so you're constantly asking your D to survey the rush, whether it's 1, 2, or 3, and then making a read as to where their back-checking support is, and not getting too puck focused on an individual player. So when you read through it, you're looking to the next layer, constantly surveying. Don't get too puck focused with it. You have to find that next layer of the attack, whether it's a late defenseman joining. And then certainly communication is vital for defensemen. You have to be able to talk to your forwards. You got to be able to talk to your partner as the play is developing, and making sure that you guys know where everybody is on the ice. So when you watch through these clips here, the first clip I have, I think the first two are sort of maybe more of not what to do when you're looking at it. It'll give you an idea of sort of what I'm talking about and what I'm looking for when we're talking to our D here in Colorado. So as this play develops, you'll see it turn over. So right away, again, trying to work and take as much ice as you can, take and work as much ice as you can, popping inside the ice there. But by setting that gap right away, it's my belief that this play could be shut down with just the two guys coming at you right away. But our D have decided to back off of this for whatever reason in this instance. And you can just see, you'll see a Vegas player who's getting ready to join here late. So by setting a loose gap, what you've done, you've allowed this play to develop, and you've allowed this player to be a part of it now, where I think if we were tighter, we could close that down. And if we've made the decision to allow these players to push that puck carrier, then we should be sliding in and protecting the inside of the ice. But what's vital when I'm talking about reading through the rush here, when they focus in on this defenseman here, to me, he looks like he's only looking at 1 and 2 guys, and it's his job to look beyond and see what's coming next. So that's the term, reading through the rush. So if we've decided that we're laying off of it with our strong side D, we should be looking and seeing if we can find this late player here. And if we've made this decision in this instance, and by not looking and reading through that rush, it sets yourself up to be in a spot where you're surprised and a scoring chance against. So that's the terminology that we use here and what I'm looking for when I'm talking about these plays. Again, so loose gap coming off of a turnover, which sets you up to be in a poor position initially. And if you watch, so should be working to the interior of the ice to defend this, but we are beginning to fade to the outside, and we have a loose gap, which is going to set you up to be in a real tough spot. And on top of it, I don't see the communication that I'd like to see from our defense in this scenario. Whether we're going to send him to pick up the weak side or he's going to push this puck to come to the strong side, you don't see this happening. So by the time you hit the blue line with that loose gap, we're fading to the outside, okay? There is no communication and direction as to where we want our support to go. And when you get into this area here, you look at this spot here, you could pretty much drive a truck through that area. So the strong gap would have potentially allowed that to shut down or to shut that play down earlier in the zone from our defense. And then the communication certainly would have allowed us to slide to the inside and maybe protect this and allow this player to pick up the late guy, or directing our forward to the weak side of the ice there and allowing him to take care of that play. So there's a multitude of options, but the communication breakdown is what leads to 2 guys going to 1 and not identifying what's coming at you as a defenseman and communicating to your back checkers. It leaves you surprised and a scoring chance against. So certainly things that we talk about in areas that we strive to get better at every day with the drills that we run in practice and constantly through video and teaching, but it's an important aspect to a defenseman's role with the team. Puck comes in, we're going to pop into the dots, as you've heard me say probably too many times already. We're going to identify what's coming at us. So right away, same player, you can see him pointing and directing. They make a decision that we're going to pick up the weak side of the ice, which is going to allow us to shift over on this play. So very similar to the one that you just saw. We shift over, get some pressure, we shift over in between, and we allow our forward to pick up the weak side of the ice. So the communication, reading through it, sets you up for a shot that is probably a nothing shot in that instance. Okay. This is a 4-on-2, and we're a little loose with our gaps, but at a 4-on-2, we're buying as much time as we possibly can. RD have made the read that there's a number of guys coming at him, so you can't stand up on this play. So we're going to squeeze into the interior of the ice and buy as much time as we can. And we're looking and checking off. We know they have weak side options. This one here, we're protecting the interior of the ice as long as we can. And then we allows us to buy some time to get some back checking support. I would love to see him just work a little bit more in between here. But importantly, we've made the read that we have to protect the interior of the ice and buy as much time as we can. And eventually we break off of that and get our stick on puck and get a little block on that play there.